Coming up this hour, Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu under pressure to ensure Supreme Court concludes its hearing of cases against anti-gay bill. A protest is underway.
Also, there's Ghana's public sector to shut down in barely 48 hours unless government shows commitment in accepting Labour solutions to the illegal mining challenge.
And much later, the deadly impact of mercury and lead. Up for discussion as scientists test water samples from water sources polluted by illegal miners. Delightful to come your way. This is News Central, and I'm Kemini Amano.
And I am Mawina Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now. This afternoon, the Chief Justice is under pressure from groups and individuals in support of the Anti-LGBTQ+ bill to immediately resolve the pending cases before it. They have hit the streets of Accra demanding answers. Lead promoter of the bill, Sam George, he addressed the media ahead of the protest.
Well, today we are embarking on this demonstration. We're letting the Chief Justice know that her job is to deliver justice. Her job is not to act as a cog in the wheel of justice. We know the powers of the Supreme Court. We have seen the Chief Justice do it for the Attorney General. When the minority leadership in Parliament filed a suit against the granting of exemptions, the day they filed a suit, the next day, the very next day, in fact, that same day, the Chief Justice gave a notice of hearing for the next day. The next day, the Attorney General came to court and handed over his response in court to the lawyer for the plaintiff. The Chief Justice asked the lawyer that he should respond to the case in the court. He should read the response of the Attorney General. And the Supreme Court proceeded to hear the case that next day and dismiss it. So she is possible that this justice... She has the power to do it. She should stop making excuses. We didn't pay the judicial service and the Chief Justice to be holding press conferences. We paid them to deliver justice. They must give us a timetable and deliver justice. What are some of the key phrases you have to see here today? There are several of them here. The Queen Mothers are here, the traditional rulers are here, Imams are here, pastors are here, Pastor S.N. Mensah, Bishop S.N. Mensah is here, a number of bishops are here. And the people of Ghana, most importantly, are here. And we are sending a message to the Chief Justice. Enough is enough of her sitting and not doing her job.
That's Sam George. He's promoter of the Anti-LGBTQ+ bill. Let's go live to the protest grounds where my colleague Joseph Armstrong Gould Alogba is stationed. Armstrong, I see some of the leaders of the protest behind you as you continue in the march. Where exactly are you? What's been happening?
Our national work has started, and we've come a long way now as I speak to you. We've currently gotten at the Braka crossing over to the Accra polling area where the protesters led by Sam George are sticking to first go to the Chief Justice, first go to the Attorney General's office, and then from there they move to the Chief Justice's office where they'll present it for her to respond. But for now, I have here with me Sam George, Mauna.
Right, and they say they are headed to the office of the Attorney General. What will be the demands on the Attorney General when they get there? Do we know?
So for the demand from the Attorney General's office, let's talk to the main organizer for this protest, Sam George, right here with me. So, Honorable Sam George, we are live on TV3 now. Tell me, I'm first going to the Attorney General's office. What exactly will be the demand when it gets to the Attorney General's office?
Well, the Chief Justice says that the Attorney General is partly to blame. In fact, she lays the blame at the doorstep of the Attorney General that he's not filed his papers. It means we are paying the Attorney General a salary, and maybe in this case there is no jackpot for it to help him and explain the filing of the processes. So he's incompetent and is unwilling to do this. So we're going to the Attorney General to let him know that if he's incompetent, he should leave the office. We can't keep paying an incompetent person salaries. He should go and present his papers and file his documents in court.
Exactly will be the demand that he should file his documents in court. The Chief Justice says the Attorney General should have filed in 14 days. We are 63 days and counting. The Attorney General has failed to do his job. After which you are heading towards the Chief Justice's office. Yeah, the Chief Justice herself. What should be the demand there as well? She should sit up and do the job that we pay her salary for. The Chief Justice is supposed to be delivering justice, not being a cog in the wheel of justice. The Chief Justice is telling Ghanaians that she's working at the behest of the Attorney General, and that until the Attorney General files this paper, she can't work. That's not what the Chief Justice's office is. Executive judge will not even make that argument. And so we deserve better, and we're asking for better. She gives us a timetable. If she's unwilling to do that or unable to do that, she should as well recuse herself from the panel and let somebody else come and do that. Because another case that went before the Lord Justices of the Supreme Court, after this one, has been dispensed of by her colleagues on the bench. Justice Abdullahi Tanko and Justice Yoni Kolendi have finished their own case. What's she holding on for? So, Mawana, I'm the main organizer for this. Let me talk to Numo Pelenko, who is also currently here with us. Numo, over the member of the Yamawanya. Manja Bravo. So, Numo, Wambiake, when Osi, Obabiane, Wambiake, protester, you know, your Camoye. Nini, Camoya Koji. Get one in a Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and work at one petitioner. People modern animal care here. Equane cafe. Milling okay. 9 more care, Yagan Numbawa, Yoka Yobawa, the Waka Amele. I'm a son like a near Numami Fubabano. The Wame Pomode, Namo like a Yomo, Kalakani, I'm a child for. Tonini, Ghana be fair, I'm a small, not fail like a so that is right. I've also started meaning also working.
Armstrong, let's try and wrap up the conversation, get a sense of what the crowd looks like and what a lot of the ordinary individuals who've come to as well, what they've been telling you.
So is thousands of protesters joining Sam George on the street, and the numbers are encouraging according to Sam George. And I've been speaking to a few of the protesters who have been saying to me that they will make sure they do everything possible to resist any LGBTQ happening in this country. Many of them are saying that they will base their votes on whether or not the president has sent his signature to the bill. For them, if the president does not sign the bill before December 7th, they will vote against the NPP government and ensure that a different government takes over. For that government, they will put another pressure on that government and insist that that government goes ahead and sign the bill so that we will have this bill passed and people will not be engaged in the anti-LGBTQ plus, as many of them would like to say. But, Mawana, it may interest you to know that some people have also joined this protest.
Right.
And for them, they are against the protests. I spoke to 2 of them who said to me that they want to really find out what exactly are the concerns of the protesters. I spoke with one Black American who is amongst the protesters who said to me that it will be unfair and wrong on part of the president to sign the bill which will deny other people from having their freedom of living. For him, he is looking and going to stay and see how the president will sign this bill. It means that the president is not a human rights lawyer, and that's why he decided to join this protest border.
Right then, Armstrong, thank you very much for those details. That's my colleague Joseph Armstrong Gould with the protesters, and an interesting perspective he has that 2 other individuals have decided to join this group to protest against them. Quite interesting, the development. But let's walk you through the cases pending against that bill as was passed in Parliament, and that's it on your screens right now. Dr. Prince Obri-Kran versus the Attorney General, judgment delivered on the 24th of July 2024. Then we know that the famous Amanda Odoi versus the Speaker of Parliament and Attorney General has not filed, or what we know from that case is that the AG has not filed a defense. Neither of the 3 parties filed memorandum of issues as well. And then there's that case by Richard Sky versus Parliament of Ghana, and the Attorney General, as we know, is yet to file defense. Neither of the 3 parties filed the memorandum of issues in relation to that. And so that's the latest with regards this particular bill, but there's a bit more, just a bit more on this particular protest committee.
Indeed, one of the promoters of the anti-LGBTQ bill, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekpo, however, maintains the judicial service is to blame for delays in determining the cases.
When somebody brings an application, whether the application is meritorious or not, it's an application for a certain prayer in the interim. The court ought to have made that determination in the interim. That yes, I will grant your application on its merits, or I have read the application on its merits and I'm refusing it. Then we can have our way clear. But as it is, that injunction application is still pending, and the matter itself is also pending. And I disagree that the CJ will say that it's the parties, but the CJ has the power to issue summons. And you know that the Supreme Court now operates through the registrar. The registrar summons can be issued, asking the parties to come back to court. And the court will ask them what is causing the delay in this matter. She has that power. The registrar summons can bring the parties back. It's not always the parties that will apply for a summons or a hearing notice. Because even if you apply for a hearing notice, it's up to the registrar to issue that hearing notice and give you a certain date that is convenient for the court.
So you believe these are just excuses being churned out by the judiciary?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is not fair. Some matters appear to be arranged in a manner that they receive expeditious hearing. Others are simply allowed to be swallowed by the system. And so the decision by us, the sponsors of the bill, to galvanize people to support us in this protest is well-founded. We think that it's not always that we can criticize the executive in terms of its actions. We can also criticize the judiciary when we think that certain actions do not inure to the benefits of the generality of the people. So, and this is one such action.
Two quick questions. What will be the expectation after this protest of the judiciary? That's one. And then I'll answer last one.
The expectation will be to bring to the attention of the people, because a lot of people sometimes don't appreciate some of these things, is to allow them that rather than asking the parties to, as it were, be active and come to court and pursue their matter, the court too has powers, suo motu, to issue a registered summons to ask the parties to come to court and pursue their case as has been filed.
Now, Ghana's public sector is expected to shut down in barely 48 hours unless government grants the demands by organized labor. The unions have served notice of proceeding with the industrial action, despite government insisting it has shown enough commitment to dealing with illegal mining. Let's check on the pulse of this matter. Daniel Opoku is our Labour Affairs correspondent, is joining us for a bit more on this subject. Daniel, good afternoon to you. We know in barely 48 hours, you know, they will hit us with this strike. Talk to us about how things are likely to play out.
Right, so good afternoon to you, Kemeni. Right after yesterday's meeting among organized labor themselves, government is yet to officially meet them by the indications we have paid that there are background consultations ongoing, and there's a possibility that the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations will also be stepping in to be able to resolve the problem. But basically, when the ministry steps in, then clearly not entire constituents of organized labor will be invited. You have just the main line leadership who will be invited to a meeting to listen to the decision of the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations. But the government has between today and tomorrow to be able to resolve the problem. Failure to do so, then obviously from Thursday, organized labor will proceed on its nationwide strike. So the ministry is likely to step in, and their background discussions and consultations are still ongoing.
I see, but we know, Danny, that organized labor has made, quite a long list of demands. When you say the ministry is likely to step in, what are you picking up?
Right. So the crux of the demands of organized labor, one will be they are calling for an emergency, government to announce an emergency system, and also a court to be able to deal with this mining activity issues, and also for government to ban total mining in terms of that small scale or illegal mining. Now, the indications we are taking is that government must be able to make some headway, some to be able to roll out some measures and see how they'll be able to address the problem. For example, announcing for an emergency that labor themselves know that will be a very difficult thing, but they believe that there should be further engagement. Because when we look at the statement that came from the presidency and also what is within the custody of organized labor, government is intended to continue with its engagement with organized labor. And that engagement must continue between today and tomorrow. So government will not be able to announce either an emergency or a total ban of the thing, but they believe there should be some kind of measures to be rolled out and see whether they'll be able to resolve the problem. There are even other organized labor body within the system and within the organized labor as an umbrella body. They believe that instead of a total ban, why don't they, or a total nationwide strike, why don't they embark on a demonstration to drum home exactly what they want government to do? And also holding all the political parties accountable, bringing them to a round table discussion, tabling something before them to be able to sign a pact, an agreement as to each one of them, whoever wins, to be able to deal with the issue of galamsey. All these things are on the table that government is likely to meet with organized labor. But the temperature we are still picking is that labor is likely to proceed on the nationwide strike come Thursday if government fails to address the problem or announce a total ban between today and tomorrow, Wednesday.
I see. And Danny, I was asking earlier about how this is likely to play out, in the next 48 hours, if indeed or when organized labor decides to go on the strike, particularly given the backdrop that there are some unions who are not in support of the strike. What are you picking up with regards to that after their consultative meeting? Right.
So after yesterday's account, I realized that the other unions which are still not interested in a break for a nationwide strike, they believe that because once we proceed on a strike, it means that the union must seek approval from the various councils. Organized labor is an aggregation of individual sector unions. You have those in the education sector, those in the health sector. The education we're also picking is that it doesn't look like the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRMMA, will join the strike. It also does not look like the Coalition of Concerned Teachers will join the strike. Ghana Medical Association will also not join the strike. So you have these major three unions who are somewhere outside the strike bracket, even though collectively they believe there should be a way of trying to resolve the problem. That is what is currently on the table, even though there are a few of them who will not be joining the strike. And quite a number of them are ready to proceed. You have UTAG, you have other members of the Senior Staff Association of the University of Ghana, then you have other members within the TV3 as an umbrella body who are ready to join this coming Thursday strike if government is unable to resolve the problem. The temperature is very terrible, that there must be a way that they'll be able to resolve the problem or make a proper announcement that will be satisfactory to the members of organized labor.
Well, Danny, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much. Daniel Opoku is our labor affairs correspondent. We've been talking about demands, and I want to show you a bit more of what organized labor is demanding from government and the state of those demands as we speak. We know that they've asked for a declaration of a state of emergency in order to halt all forms of mining. Danny was explaining that, the ministry is working to get this granted. However, at this stage, these two have not been granted. And, the granting of this, which is the crux of the matter, will determine whether or not in the next 48 hours, organized labor will go on that strike. There's also the immediate evacuation of all mining equipment in forest reserves and around water bodies that has not been granted yet. And then the deployment of police and military to destroy mining equipment around water bodies and forest reserves. We've seen that before, and we know that government is ramping up enforcement around that. And then there is the revocation of law allowing mining in forest reserves to be revoked when Parliament reconvenes. We know that that should be in the works as well, because Parliament has not reconvened just yet. And that's coming in from government's response. Remember that this law has been a very thorny issue since the resumption of the fight against galamsey from the Ghanaian people. They have questioned why this law even exists in the first place. One of the things government has said they will do is to take a second look at this as far as their response to organized labor is concerned. And then also they will establish a special court to prosecute cases. Attorney General is to collaborate with the Chief Justice to ensure swift adjudication of illegal mining cases. Remember, the Attorney General has told us before that over 800 of such cases, have been sent to the courts. Now we are hearing that special courts will be set up to speedily look at some of these cases. So that's just about it as far as the government's response is concerned. Anyway, very well. We'll stay on this subject because we want to go to Noble Crosby Annan, who is at this event on the Galamsey Menace, where the Ghana CSO's platform on sustainable development goals are this afternoon backing Labour's decision to indefinitely lay down their tools over government's inaction to deal with the illegal mining menace. Now, according to the group, decisive action is needed from government to combat the galamsey menace, which is an existential threat to the country. Crosby, good afternoon to you. What else have they been saying?
Right, Kemini, so if you can hear me, this press conference by these civil society organizations, it is to publicly declare their full support for the planned strike by organized labor, pressuring government to immediately stop the illegal mining activities that is devastating our lands and water bodies. The platform represents the collective voice of some civil society organizations or platforms in the SDG, and they're being compelled to stand in solidarity with fellow citizens at this crucial time. They're demanding that illegal mining be stopped. I have with me a member of the civil society organizations, Mr. Yamwa. He's joining us to talk to us exactly about the demands that they are making. And even though government seems to be taking steps to ensure that the strike by organized labor does not happen, although organized labor has insisted that it will still go ahead with the strike. Yamwa, welcome. You're live on NewsCentral on TV3. Talk to us about your demands. You know that government is beginning steps. For instance, when Parliament reconvenes this controversial LI, government is taking steps to remove it. You're still not satisfied. What more do you need?
Yes, for us, it's very important because water is life, and we've seen the massive sort of pollution on these water bodies. As we speak now, there are still illegal mining going on these water bodies. Our people on the ground are telling us there is still illegal mining going on in most of these forest reserves, especially by companies that the Forestry Commission have indicated clearly that they have not given them any license.
Right.
And we are even surprised that the Minerals Commission, as of yesterday, has indicated that at the back of a Yinam police station, there's still illegal mining going on, and he wonders why the police have not taken action.
Okay.
So the inaction is a major concern for us, environmental NGOs, for us NGOs working for the achievement of the sustainable development goals.
Talk to us about the composition of this group or this platform backing the strike by the organized labor. How many are you? What are you made up of?
Yes, this platform is made up of networks that have many members. We have more than 400 registered NGOs who are also networks. So there is a majority of the NGOs working on the sustainable development goal, all the 17 sustainable development goals. Then we have district platforms, and other allied NGOs have also been part of the process. Remember that NGOs such as those working in the sustainable development goals have already been talking about illegal mining and the fact that it's affecting our forests, the fact that it's affecting climate change, the fact that it's affecting health, the fact that it's affecting education. A lot of the children in these areas are not going to school. The fact that it's affecting decent work because the miners themselves are exposed to hazardous working conditions, right. And then there's child labor being used in these areas. As so far as it's affecting food, because farmlands are being destroyed, it's affecting cocoa, and there are water bodies as well, the fisheries. Now in our ocean space, there's a lot of pollutants from the mining getting into the ocean space. So when you take illegal mining and irresponsible mining and other forms of illegal mining and galamsey, it is affecting all these factors. So it is limiting our progress towards achieving the sustainable development goals as a nation.
And that is what is motivating you to join. Well, so Kemini, that's what you have. They're throwing their support fully behind organized labor in the strike that is expected to begin on the 10th of October. They hope that they adding their voice to the demands of organized labor will help to amplify the concerns that we have and demand urgent action from the government and not the steps that government has taken so far. They want essentially more than that.
Very well. Crosby, thank you so much for the reporting. We'll stay on the subject.
Absolutely. And a former director of the Minerals Commission, Richard Kofi Apenu, says the country is where it is at with the fight against illegal mining because the government has not been committed and policies have failed. He spoke on Agenda last night with Beatrice Edu.
Government were actually committed to this fight. This fight should have been started way back in 2017 when they took over. There were a lot of things that were in place at the time. For example, we had, an artisanal and small-scale mining framework, which was developed through broad stakeholder nationwide consultation. And the purpose for this was to ensure that the, artisanal and the small-scale mining sector was self-regulatory. And that is to say that the associations that had been set up would be the vanguard of this effort to stem this illegal mining activity. But I think that clearly there has been a total failure. There has been a total policy failure in trying to ensure that illegal mining is eradicated from our above.
How do you mean by total failure of policy?
Well, you can see the surge in the turbidity levels of the water bodies that we have.
Can move away from that, but still on the subject of illegal mining and galamsey, because the Office of the Attorney General has once again opposed an application for bail filed by more than 20 anti-galamsey protesters. This is despite an Accra High Court granting bail to a number of the protesters on Monday and against the backdrop of the Attorney General himself indicating he will ask his officers to consider bail during the hearing. Lord Iduasare is in court and is joining us with a bit more details. Lord, what really is informing this continuous opposition to bail by the Attorney General's office?
Well, it's hard to tell, but when the case was called today, the prosecution led by the state attorneys indicated to the court that they had filed their affidavit in opposition to the bail application, both today's and that of yesterday's. But the lawyers for the protesters indicated that they hadn't been served, and that was why the judge ordered that they be served, or the lawyers of the protesters be served with the affidavit in opposition. And so he adjourned the case to tomorrow. It's hard to tell exactly what the reasons are for the prosecution's continuous opposition to the bill, but essentially what the reason is that these protesters or accused persons do not have fixed places of abode or identifiable addresses. That's their opposition. They indicate that when they are granted bail, they will not show up in court when called upon.
And right then, we understand the trial of the protesters is expected to begin today. What more do we know about that?
Indeed, you recall that at the last adjourned dates, about 39 or 52 or 53 protesters were arraigned before the circuit courts, and then they were asked to come today where the trial will begin. And we picked up reports that earlier in the day, they were brought to the court only to be communicated to that the trial will actually be after 2 p.m. And so as we speak, they are yet to report, but we are expecting that, you'd recall that the Attorney General did say that they should facilitate or expedite the investigations and then possibly let go or release those who they do not have enough evidence to continue prosecution. So we're expecting some discharge of some of the protesters, and again, another bill application by the lawyers of the protesters.
Then, Lord, many thanks for those details. That's my colleague, Lord Edouard Sare, from the courts for us. It's a place we'll stay on a lot more as the days continue with regards the prosecution of these anti-galamsey protests. We can now bring you Ghana Remembers.
Labour is on the verge of a full-blown industrial action over the galamsey menace. A key demand they are making: an outright ban on all forms of mining as major rivers in the country continue to take hits by the galamsey scourge. For many, there is the need to protect the nation's natural resources for the future generations. One man who knows this quite well and promised to do the same is President Akufo-Addo.
On Gassia, galamsey, I'm said, never be a car. Say, Auntie, say, Juma. Maybe can say, for my Sagana for A2 Sicano, may Barbie tremble. If just as he to scale more, Ganyama, and yet that. Yen nanum, in the chat says he to scale. Me said sika when you babe to sika ye tiamra and no and a mempress because illegal mining. That is what I'm against. I babe high. I ne tebi chema hinkro a brim. I am a ball. And number one, I two Sikawumbu. Densu, Brim, Nina, say, yet to be in Kosusa. Mining along the water bodies cannot continue if we want to preserve the nature and our system. Cannot continue. Matthew say, Galamsey for say, Sepasa me Babe. Dimrano so on so na election I be MPP for who become me dey hear me say me dey Nyankopon aka kire me say e hia say me ba be here anu na hear me na me ba be here nhese ya ebe bo ma no nkoso anu na hear me nya election asem dey nhese ya betumi aye ama o ma no enya nkoso. Yana no jasa si mai. Tie tumi nya bibi papa kura yensu yenja no sa ma ye nana no. Na no ne kokese a aba efa galamsey.
Which sounds really awesome. But today, nearly all river bodies within the middle to southern belts of the country stand at risk of complete destruction. Yet the man who pledged to preserve Ghana's lush forest and river resources is unable to declare a state of emergency and halt the destruction which is continuing to this very minute. That's it for Ghana Remembers.
1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
We all have that one friend, always by your side for the big moments and ready to assist. He's always got his eyes on the prize and his heart in the right place. Where would we be without our BFF? This season, enjoy all 380 Premier League games with your BFF GoTV. Upgrade or reconnect to GoTV Super Plus for the discounted price of just 265 cedis today. GoTV, love it.
Auntie, now then I want to what time over me one money my busa. Auntie Ama, the patch or me by a school, a university. Na scan year 2005. Anya dia menya. Ti ma yimi ntoma same de bro na pepe bi kakra. No de fama me. O enya su mensu fantoma no kotofi. Enti wonte se John Dramani Mahama. Ene NDC for say. Se nyame ya adom na Ghana for to abama na. Wo ba Aba University bia, Technical University, College of Education, Nursing Training. Wo mu nyina academic fees for first year. Eye free. No. Yes. Adam Auditi. Anadwen and then mate den there. Auntie si. She ebiem. Wo say enka na ebosia na obo wo ma omo to asukun so no. Se na obo ne ba ko a se wo so obesi ho. E dia ma omo omo to aso no. Ane enya mi sa John Mahama. Ye chame so mu kra ne se. Ye nuanu ma omo di dem asabi graduate. Omo ko sukun to no. Wo say wo mu nyina wo ba. Eye free. Ane Samba. Yay. And come ko nanka na ye 7 December. Nanka ya tu aba na my papa Mahama. I'm na be your president.
Hwe wasit na moto aba pa. E din sakra ya papa beba wa brabo mu. To aba mo John Mahama ni NDC.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you get an 8K. Get that packing so you have to come. Wallah. Hey, wait.
You can put it on his tab. This is my man.
Good luck. Hey, Bill Radio. We are star 712. It's much more phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And I'm with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else? Let's choose buy tickets for adults.
Love you, boo boo.
Maybe straight to option 4.
Now we try. You need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify.
Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets.
Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
there we are. Tread cautiously.
Now follow the prompts.
Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. T&Cs apply.
One of the most important and popular forms of communication is through a television set, and not just any television set, but Franco television set. We have smart and LED TVs ranging from the smallest of 32 inches to the biggest of 86 inches. Franco television is easy to operate. It gives you the best picture and has distinctive features like maracas, USB, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and 4K resolution pictures. Rush now to any of our branches nationwide or on our website at www.francotrading.com. You can call the numbers on the screen for any assistance. Franco Trading Enterprise is still the home of quality television sets.
The news that matters most is the news that hits closest to home.
When it breaks, we are there.
If it touches your family, your city, affects your expenditure, your decisions, as well as your safety, we've got it covered.
It's easy to just cover the news. What we are doing is different, creating a news experience that prepares you for anything. TV3 News, award-winning journalism, world-class quality, on TV and online, right at your doorstep. TV3, first in news.
Welcome back to News Central. Still a lot more stories for you in relation to illegal mining, but let's return to the capital here in Accra, where traders, business owners and residents of Opera Square are protesting what they describe as illegal sale of their lands to private entities. They allege portions have been sold to foreign developers, including Chinese nationals, without consulting the communities. They further claim the deals have been disguised as public-private partnerships, which fail the tenets of accountability and transparency, and also fraught with procurement breaches. George Queening is there for us. Let's get a sense of what the place is like this afternoon. He's joined us via Zoom for a quick chat. George, talk to us. What is the Opera Square like this afternoon? What are the concerns of these traders and settlers alike?
Sure. Thank you so much, Moina. Like you rightly mentioned, I'm coming to you live from Cow Lane and Opera Square Bus Terminal. And so landlords here, business owners, traders, and residents of these communities are sending a strong signal to AMA and relevant authorities over the illegal sale of land here. And so let me just, paint a picture here. So these are some ongoing projects here on the land, and they're not really happy about that. And for them, the relevant authorities here have disguised this very deal as a public-private partnership, which, is fraught with some procurement breaches and lacks some sort of accountability and transparency. And so they don't want this to take place here. And they've also mentioned that this place is a historical place. The fact is, the chief imam was born here. Another historical thing they've shared with me. But I have this man with me here who wants to share some few things with me this afternoon. But now, what I say, I had no historical town and all that. So, one person in town, fancy. Say, could you sit there with the farm? Because of one, having the specific aspect of this town cannot be valued. Yeah. Because one, that's not about our umbilical. Okay. We're going to in all our life based on this. Okay. This is the campaign, right? It's campaign here. And then successive government did their campaign and they became president. And then this is also a central business district. Okay. Where most of us, after we completed our education and we couldn't get a chance in government, we came out as functionaries and because of our limited time. I mean, you were saying something. You're very passionate about this place, right? You say we are building these buildings. How far? Oh, I tell you why building because nobody passed anybody. And we try to see all these people about it. They live here like 15 years to 3 years. It's the same to their feelings in our family. So you can't just talk of your power. You just wake up, you are doing something. But last time I checked, I heard they want to build some electric chargers for buses here. Yeah, they want to something. It's not good. What's good? We are going electronic. So if maybe it's for charging. No, they are lying. They are lying to us. They know what they are doing. They are selling behavior. So residents are not really pleased about this ongoing construction. So what they are demanding is that all ongoing construction activities here should be halted, and also the future of this very land should be consulted.
Right then, George, I'm sure it's a subject matter that we can get a bit more details on a lot later. My colleague George Queening from the Cow Lane at Opera Square will bring you a bit more stories now.
Now, it's day 2 of the nationwide strike by the National Identification Authority workers, and the Greater Accra Regional Office remains deserted. No staff have been seen on site since the Divisional Executives Council of the Public Services Workers Union, NI Division, and the Trades Union Congress initiated the industrial action on October 7th, 2024. Now, the strike follows the employer's failure to implement a newly improved scheme of service, a move the aggrieved workers describe as a breach of trust and a threat to their welfare. For more on this, we are joined by Godwin Asedeba. Godwin, good afternoon. What else can you report? I'm going to try again. It would appear Godwin cannot hear us. But Godwin is joining us from the Greater Accra offices of the National Identification Authority. You recall that they began their strike on Monday. It's day 2 of the exercise or industrial action, and their offices remain closed. But let's find out what's happening with clients who are there to enjoy the services of the National Identification Authority. Godwin Asedeba, we'll try him one more time. Godwin, what else can you report? What are, applicants saying to you?
Right, Kemini, from the Greater Accra Regional Office of the National Identification Authority, it's day 2 of the ongoing strike, and as you can see behind me, the gates to the office remain locked with no workers inside. The usually bustling office where you have hundreds of citizens come to register and update their details for their national ID cards have been completely shut down since the industrial action began yesterday. The strike was declared, we all know, by the Public Services Workers Union of the Trades Union Congress, which is the NAI division, in protest over the failure of management to implement a newly approved scheme of service that they say is crucial to their welfare and progress. According to the workers, they will not return to work until this demand is met. Earlier today, I attempted to speak to some of the union leaders to get an update on negotiations, but they remain firm in their position. Meanwhile, some citizens who rely on the services of the NIA have been left stranded, with many expressing frustrations over the sudden halt in operations. And at this point, I've spotted quite a number of them who have actually walked to the premises in and out, but when they get in here, they come to meet empty offices and locked gates as well. So that's rather unfortunate and really frustrating for some of the people who ever come here to get their names changed because of some mistakes that might have been rectified on the ID cards and all of that. So it's generally been a worrying situation for most of these people who come in here to either get the problems on their ID cards rectified, or others who also walk in to make some inquiries regarding their ID cards coming in.
Very well, Godwin, thank you so much for the reporting. Godwin Asedeba joined us from the Greater Accra Regional Office of the National Identification Authority, where applicants are stranded. They cannot access the services of the NIA because staff are on strike across the country. You're watching News Central. We'll be right back with more stories. Don't go away.
Stuck on you. Ooh, obsessed with you. I'm obsessed.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom. Ntina ma wo ho idea ma me. Papa chesena nya asem ketewa. Na me kwan point no mo hwe me mogya mu no mo hwe bibia na so mo medro. Mo medro am fine no. Ene ma won kra me enu. Kofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba.
Head everything yourself. Me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante. And then the end point, or Mamma Nura, and then the white dear, what's me a sorry and auntie.
That's end point for you. Of Roberto. Hello. Hey, what chair? Okay. A free bra would the end point what dance. I'm a choir no. Me Joseph Sama name Quay, and person my name and then Magina Sabema. Now, let me fear for the hard in Jarissa. You heard everything. I have secret. End point is my secret. End point homeopathic clinic. I'm free.
Phoenix Club.
Uplifting women.
Phoenix Club.
Uplifting
women. Phoenix Club.
Uplifting women.
Thank you very much for having me here today. The nation builder John Mahama and Professor Nana Jane are bringing you the Women's Development Bank. Whoa! It is a very special bank run by only women, to serve only women. The aim is to empower millions of women across the country. The bank will have branches all over the nation to provide you with loans with very low interest and on very flexible terms.
Madam, I run a small makeup and nail bar. Do I qualify for a loan?
No need to bother, my sister. I mean hairdressers, market women, women-owned online businesses, female graduates, women in the corporate world, traders, agri, women in all fields qualify for loans. With John Mahama and Professor Nana Jane at the helm, the Ghanaian woman will surely rise.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
Hello! I bring you all exciting news from Franco Trading Enterprise. For the quickest and efficient way of keeping your clothes and garments clean, Franco Trading Enterprise has brought in a new washing machine for you and your home. This washing machine comes in sizes. We have the smaller size and the bigger size. This washing machine is easy to operate. It saves time and energy. It extends the life of your clothes, and the most exciting part of it all is that it has low power consumption. So for bulk purchasing and retailing, visit any of our branches nationwide or on our website at www.francotrading.com. You can call the numbers on the screen for any assistance. Franco Trading Enterprise, the home of quality.
Well, continuing on galamsey, and there's a big question we're asking this afternoon. What happens to the human body when two of the world's most dangerous chemicals, mercury and lead, are ingested through the water we drink? As Ghana's waters continue to deteriorate due to illegal mining, my colleague Ikeo Foriwa will investigate how our health is impacted by these twin toxic chemicals leaching from mining sites into major rivers such as the Pra, Ankobra, Uti, and Bonsa rivers.
At the Water Research Institute at CSIR in Accra, some fresh samples of river bodies that have been polluted by activities of illegal mining are undergoing a series of tests to determine their turbidity levels.
So this is from Dabuasi, the Black Volta, Pualugu, Konongo, Dunkwa. And you see how turbid, or let's say how colored the samples are.
First, a crystal clear water which qualifies as a potable drinking water was tested, and after some few seconds, its nephelometric turbidity unit NTU was 0.0094, meaning it is less than 1. This falls within the World Health Organization WHO's turbidity of drinking water, which should never exceed 5 NTU. This was followed by the turbidity test for River Pra. This sample was taken by researchers from Dabuase, a town in the western region. During the test, there were significant levels of heavy metal contamination, so the sample had to be diluted to get the actual value. The results for the turbidity test for River Pra was about 17,550 NTU, higher than Ghana Water Company Limited's required standard of 2,000 NTU for adequate treatment.
After some few seconds, we are having our results, which is 351. But bear in mind, we did a 1 in 50 dilution, which means whatever value we are getting here must be multiplied by 50. So if you multiply 351 by 50, we are getting around 17,550 about NTU. Very dangerous. You need to stop. Otherwise, it will get to a point Ghana Water Company cannot even treat the water.
Mercury is considered by WHO as one of the top 10 chemicals of major public health concern. Also, lead exposure was attributed to more than 1.5 million deaths globally in 2021, primarily due to Confanochi Teaching Hospital. Dr. Collins Koko said once the twin chemical, lead and mercury, enter the body, it is distributed to organs including the heart, brain, kidneys, liver, and bones.
Mercury lead affects your heart. It gives you heart disease. It makes your heart weak. If you are drinking water, let's say even the color is clear, what about the elements in it that are going to affect your brain, your heart, your kidneys? These are very serious things. We can't waste time.
Illegal mining must be halted now or never, and this is a call by research scientists and health experts who are cautioning authorities about the extreme repercussions of illegal mining and water pollution. Reporting for TV3 News, Ekeoferi Wadakun, Accra.
Wow.
And
terrible.
Wow is the first thing we had to say in terms of that report and what the concerns and challenges are with the water that we have available. It's not.
To think that the device couldn't read the pure water because it was perhaps too turbid, so it had to be diluted with clean water.
And that was 3,000 NTU. That's even after dilution. It was above Ghana Water Company's expected levels. And then with that 3,000 plus, you have to multiply by 50 plus or something.
This is definitely over my head. And, we need to do something about this immediately, because it's not just the color of the water. If it was just the color of the water, well, we'll treat it and get, what needs to be out.
It goes beyond
right?
just the color now to the chemicals
within. It's the chemicals, the heavy metals. We don't detox as a people. We threw our traditions away also. So,
well, let's scan quickly. Complex issues, but let's scan quickly as we continue in that fight for clean water here in Ghana. Do that and be a part of the 3 News WhatsApp channel. It's a big growing family where you find all things news related, from our news cards to links to 3news.com. That's where you get everything news related from us here at Media General. I am Mawina Egbeta. And I am Kemeni Amana. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Next year is the afternoon show. Bye-bye from us.